Hello and welcome to our Lord Criminal Rogue Trader playthrough. I'm Shadowcoast and welcome to the channel. We are going to get back at it here, trying to free Kiava Gamma. A quick note, if you are enjoying this playthrough and want to see more, please be sure to drop a thumbs up and drop a comment. Your support means everything. Let's get to it. We have a lot more to explore here. I'm not sure if we're going to finish off freeing Kiava Gamma in this, but we're going to try to. We're going to try to keep this to about 45 minutes. Let's go ahead and cross this bridge into this next section.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Alright, just making sure. Up, okay, a trap there. Are there traps over here? Hopefully not. We're already pretty damaged. A computator's panel has dozens of breakers, buttons, and handles. View the log. You discover the local cybercrypt with data collected by either previous operators or the machine spirit itself. Supply protocol. At first glance, the records look like a typical shipping report, but after further reading, it becomes apparent that the focus here is not ore or assembly parts, but augments extracted from living tech priests and spent mass, the flesh of the victims killed either during or for the sake of machine rituals. Alright, that's pretty dark. You've been fully corrupted here. The log looks damaged, the lines are uneven, and some of the valves seem impossible. After a few minutes of studying the records, you feel your head begin to swim. The stored data can only be comprehended by a twisted mind touched by chaos and corruption. Review of Ascension Protocol. Oh boy. I think we're gonna have, like, potential demons to fight here. The record looks like a sermon of some mad chaos worshipper. The law, clearly written from someone else's words, mentions the heart that exudes virtue and the cradle that rocks the child of truth. Alright. Good to know. I will take that, pack the rest of this cargo.
It's about time.
Look, over there.
Oh, it looks like there are... I think Argentas are disarmor.
As if a field of flowers was blossoming nearby.
Disarm trap.
A child
You
was
can click on the...
saved from death. 1,000
Alright, it doesn't look...
heretics were burning in
The
lines,
key to success.
begging and sobbing and howling.
Oh boy, there are lots of traps.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Do you require... When the faithful are idle, heresy grows.
Alright, just for the sake of it, so if we're running around, I'd rather disarm these traps.
This task should have been accomplished easily.
So then if we're like going around the map, I don't want to run into it later on. Alright, let's get back at it. Alright, he was standing here. There's a store over there. Is there anything there? No. Okay. What is this gonna do? Oh boy. Oh, alright, we're rotating. I think this is, yeah, that's where we came from, so let's go ahead and
Follow my lead.
come over here. Oh, well, let's, by the way, open this log so we have a little
I
more.
won't tolerate weakness.
I have a feeling there's got to be some combat coming up soon. We're just trying to... A desecrated altar to the Omnissiah. The purity seals have been torn off, the data slates with sacred codes shattered, and some of the teeth on the gear adornment broken off. Teeth on the gear adornments?
None shall stand in my way.
Where are we? Alright, we are kind of beat up. By the way, we're gonna move. Let's change the order here, so this will impact how we
I'll lay
run. So
claim
you
to
see,
the stars.
let's have Abelard up front with Henrix. Lore warp. An eerie-looking makeshift structure adorned with revolting totems and symbols. The dim lighting makes it look like the ornate symbols move on their own. That is freaky.
It's about time.
Okay.
A new new challenge
I'm
for
just
me?
measuring twice. Crucified body had all of its augments removed. Judging by the abundance of blood, they were ripped from the tech priest while the tech priest was still alive. Now, what do we have up here? Massive soot-covered vessels are filled with blood. Okay, so we clearly have... Oh, crap. False information. Demence. The tech priest tears himself away from reading his data slate and looks up at you. His respirator augment is missing. Instead, the lower half of his face is covered in deathly pale artificial flesh. You take note of the multitude of fresh augments attached to his head. They seem to have been inserted haphazardly, and pus is seeping from the untreated wounds. I heard your footsteps in the void. You are Von Valencius, are you not? I am. Pascal exchanged a series of binary signals with the tech priest before saying menacingly, initiating arrest procedure. This unit is using fabricated identification code, which constitutes a 4th grade sin. Items lost: Demence, Hanneman's, Hanuman's, Cortical Augment. Identify yourself. His white and lifeless lips stretched into a smile. My name is Demence Hanuman. I believe it is familiar to you. This statement is false. This unit stands accused of identity theft. I am guilty of many things, but not for the transgressions you speak of. I have stolen nothing from you, my tech brother, unlike many others who have indeed robbed you. I'm giving you a chance to explain why you're using the name of another. Another? I have the right to bear this name. It is my humble inheritance, which I received from Archmagos Armanaut. To renounce it is to betray his ideas. The blessed Armanaut taught us that the cycle must be discontinued, and it seems I have become his best student. Now I aspire to know all, comprehend all, as is the Omnissiah's will. Blasphemy! Should you continue these sacrilegious mentions of sacred litanies and heretical perversions of the blessed Armanaut's philosophy, you will be destroyed. You wish to sound outraged, but I sense your curiosity. I understand. Knowledge is intoxicating. This craving for new knowledge gnaws at me as well, but be patient. Alright, we have to be careful. We will work with Eldari and aliens, but we will not side with chaos. This is going to be avoiding chaos corruption to the best degree possible. I'm deciphering a great mystery. My name became the start of the key. I analyzed the archives and found it in its place where it should not be. Hanuman. Probably saying that wrong. I kept seeing this maker upon the traces of a great plot, of the deception created by Archmagos Armanaut. No sound mind is capable of such twisted cunning, but my mind was no longer sane. It could no longer stay within the narrow confines of the norm. Each new discovery loosened the imperatives of obedience and granted ever greater freedom. I avoided the traps of the maimed hunter who seek to hide the truth. But words mean little. Do you want me to show you the truth? His pale lips spread into a smile. Let's go. Do you have a preference regarding the killing of a former tech brother? As Kel switches to Technolingua, his voice erupting a series of binary signals. There is no need to be surreptitious. Let him understand. The heretic nods in your direction with a smile. Pascal glances at you with worry and says in Gothic, his voice doubtful, following a voluntary surrender, I will be willing to commute the punishment from immediate destruction to arrest and isolation, for the sake of exhaustive interrogation. Does it not violate a protocol? Indeed, Tech Brother, does it not violate the dogma of purity? Pascal says nervously, your possible familiarity with matters related to the fate of the Blessed Armanaut justifies this violation. If you think it best. The Airtech deranged smile remains on his dead lips. Request tonight, Tech Brother. You will have to pull what you know out of my head. Oh boy, here we go.
Take a knee and bow before me.
I'll turn you into corpse starch.
Alright.
But of course, Lord Captain. I won't object to it. Let's see to it.
Oh wow. Alright, we can't run into him. Alright, we're gonna wait to use the warp. Alright.
not a servitor.
Argenta. Alright, allies with it receive +2 to rate of fire for all their weapons for one turn.
Isn't this a job for the serfs? Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Alright, please don't hit Henrix. You knocked him back. Nice.
I have read tomes of military.
Oh shoot, I thought you were in there. Alright. Ow. Oh boy.
Shields me.
Okay.
Scorn the pain.
The enemies of the Emperor will be undone. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak. It's why I was toast.
Okay. Fantastic.
In thy light I stand, and thy light
We're just chaining it together, taking out. Oh,
faith
95%
without deeds
chance
is
if you
worthless.
miss.
I need targets, not guidance. That is not the Emperor's will. As the
Alright.
Emperor
Don't.
commands, act. Doubt is for the weak.
Kinda want him standing so we can.
As the
3%
Emperor
chance.
commands, I act.
Alright.
I'll do it.
Hopefully this guy, we knocked him back far enough so he can't do any damage. Oh, hold on.
Indeed.
Forceful strike. And then we're going to
My
hammer
place
this
is at the
guy.
fort. Victory is imminent. At your beck and call.
Okay, well. Alright, all attacks against enemies in this area grant +10.
Let's see how they respond to this. Nothing I can't do.
I think.
Doubt is for the weak. God Emperor, move through me. Be the fire in my heart. This is unacceptable.
We don't have enough bullets, that's
I need
why.
targets, not guidance. As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it.
Alright, we're just trying to get out of the way.
All too easy.
Alright, we're just trying to. Oh, we're shooting on one over. My bad.
Naturally. Everyone,
Alright,
step
this should
aside.
finish him off. I think we did well. That engagement. Pascal stands motionless as he gazes upon the heretic's corpse. After a long silence, he finally says in a hollow voice, I am taking his neurocogitator. The data contained within must be analyzed in order to supplement the catechisms of operation and maintenance. Alright, are you sure you want to do this, my man? What if it's contagious? Request denied. The value of data justifies the risk. Pascal leans over the corpse, activates the sampling tool on one of his mechadendrites, and plunges into the tangle of augmetics covering the heretic's skull. Pascal, I love you, my dude, but we have to be careful with this stuff.
I won't tolerate weakness.
A mishmash of steel wires shaped by some madman into an unknown and frightening monstrosity. New plasma gun. Collect all. Is that everything? What's over here? Set up ladder. +3 to WSMBS. Full weapon strength and precision strength has additional chance to. Yes, please. So we will upgrade. I think recoil will.
I won't do that.
You won't wear this? Oh, they're gloves. What is this? Parry by 10. We want you to parry.
What advice do you seek?
How do we?
Sometimes you consult the appropriate treatise on Tactica Imperialis and weigh every step.
What the heck?
Sometimes,
There
though,
we
you
go.
just fire your biggest cannon and save the day.
Weapon skill test. Okay. Alright. Well,
Do
let's
you
do some
require
quick upgrades.
inquisitorial approval?
Vanguard. We have 2. Choose a talent. We want to do dodge. Plus 10% to dodge tests. Yes, please. And skill. Let's see. Athletics. Let's get super athletic here.
Look no further.
I don't know why it closes and opens. That's kind of a weird quirk. We're going to go dodge test again. And then we're going to do Vanguard position because these are our tanks. Ooh. I wish I knew what this meant. So we're going to go athletics again. There we go. Yeah, it closes each time, which is kind of a weird quirk. Weapon skill. Oh, what's our perception? 45, 45, 55, 30, 30, 40. Okay, so we are going to increase perception of you.
We shall prevail.
Ooh. Okay, so these all augment our stratagems. Enemies gain no bonus for outnumbering the combat master and enemy combat master in melee. What do we? I feel like you're kind of a hybrid tank. Alright, well so strategists may use leader abilities on any targets within stratagem. That's compelling. So if we're out of range. Affecting only one ally within stratagem increases the action points by 1 and movement points by 2. That's affecting 3 or more allies with one stratagem refunds the strategist 1 action point. I like that. Because that's what we normally drop.
Join me in prayer.
Alright, what's the veteran? We're gonna go toughness for hit points. Yeah, so that increases.
You are in the presence of House Orcelia.
So we're not gonna do the same build here, because she already has perfect strategy then. Increase movement points. We're gonna go with dodge. I feel like we want them to be taking as little damage as possible at all times. Okay, what do we have here? Set up ladder. Agility 10.
What in the world?
Where
None
are
shall
we?
stand in my way.
Dark patch can be seen on the floor. There are smudges. Oh, Lexa mechanic. Did you survive? A small, heavily augmented man in a filthy, tattered robe stands before you. As you approach, he hesitantly looks up at you, his eyes filled with horror. A portable inscriber with a keyboard hangs from the straps at his front. You can see he has attached a cerebral cogitator peeking out from under his hood. You have nothing to fear from us. Deus Mechanicus, the tech priest decides to take a better look at you. After he lets out a ragged breath and manages to subdue his shaking. He heard my prayers. I thought I was alone in the kingdom of madness and depravity. Please, save me. Tell us who you are and what happened to you. I'm a Manufactorum Lexa Mechanic Zeta 86. I have performed the ritual for the machine spirit of Foundry 95 up until the brothers started going mad. Priests devoted to the Omnissiah suddenly started praising the dawn of something or other. They stopped the belts, and then they desecrated the visages of the sacred machines with unholy symbols. Some of them resisted, the others grabbed them, tied them up, and then they turned their implants to heresy. I saw the madmen, my former tech brethren, deliberately connect those poor souls to corrupted cogitators. I watched as they were infected with the scrap code, and did nothing to stop them. I'm recording a violation of the commandments of thine own forge, be a true sentinel. Apostate Zeta 86, your accesses are hereby revoked. Proceed with your report. The icy rumble comes from Pascal's vox, causes the Lex mechanic to lower his head in fear and contrition. How does he manage to avoid the same fate? Sorry, just taking a sip of water here. I didn't avoid it. They performed the same procedure on me. I felt the touch of unholy code. I allowed it to control me. I abandoned my sacred post and followed one of the traitors, serving his will and gathering all the data for his blasphemous experiments. I was driven by an unholy impulse coming from the depths of my auxiliary cogitator, where the code had lodged itself. Before I found a way to throw off the compulsion, I witnessed horrifying heresy, the extraction of true flesh and its decomposition on altars, perverse procedures that resulted in heretical abominations. I even accompanied a fallen Magos to the fabricator himself and attended the unholy mass he led personally. It was a wicked ritual full of willful deviations and blatant inaccuracies, all to create an ungodly monster in the name of the final dawn. You don't act like the other priests who were corrupted. The Lex Mechanic gestures to the wires and connectors spilling from under his hood. Praise the gifts of the Omnissiah, I managed to disconnect my external cogitator, which I use for primary data processing. The machine isn't corrupted. The scrap code is locked inside like a beast in a cage, but anyone who tries to look inside will fall victim to their heretical program. My primitive brain has been marked by corruption. I still see their silhouettes, hear their interferences. I sense the malfunctions in my augmentics. I was still saved from the great sacrifice. So blessed are the workings of the Omnissiah and his benediction that shelters the weak from evil. Henrik tenses ever so slightly at the Lex Mechanic's words. You see a hand casually straight to the handle of his weapon, but the Interrogator is no hurry to act. You mentioned a monster. Is this some kind of weapon? No. Those constructs that are melted down in the furnaces and sent to the depths of the Manufactorum. It's some kind of semblance of a cogitator, a nightmarish parody of a sacred machine, powered not by the Omnissiah's grace, but by the unholy spirit and life force of the unfortunates imprisoned on the lower levels. I do not know much except the fabricator saw that machine as special. It was special to him and to the crazies who defiled the Omnissiah's abode with their obscene blasphemy. For the final ritual, he even called upon one of the Astartes heretics. Oh boy. We got Chaos Marines here, who arrived at the Manufactorum after the start of the uprisings. He did something terrible, and only after that were they able to switch the machine on. It is a true abomination. Even standing near it is unbearable. I believe that even those who have been deprived of the Omnissiah's grace still feel its influence on them. Its monstrous power utilized from the unholy computations and chaotic calculations. Whatever the cogitator might spew out at the end of this cycle, no righteous soul should accept its heinous offerings. How did your crazed brethren behave? Like the grace of Omnissiah had left them entirely, replacing free thought and progress with blackest corruption. I witnessed them desecrating structures blessed for the fabricator himself. Though what to do, the blessings of that raw and traitor count for now. Like men possessed, they set upon the sacred instruments and assembled shells and nodes that didn't match any diagram or blueprint I've ever seen. Sacrilege! Alright, you mentioned So the lay servants of the main units, they live in isolated segments under the sacred machines. So these are the people you mentioned up beneath. I heard they were locked in there after the takeover. Then my crazed brethren changed the system for disposing of slag waste and covered the machines and curse symbols. Lexomechanic hesitates. After they started the cogitator, they dragged the survivors out of the segments under the machine halls. What the survivors had turned into. Oh boy. You demonstrate exceptional prowess of observation and recall for someone to just happen to survive. I'm a lexomechanic. Gathering data is the purpose of my existence. That's even what they use me for. He trails off, belatedly understanding the subtext of the interrogator's words. They use me against my will. The scrap code turns everyone into their slave. Before I read myself in the cogitator, I was forced to serve alongside those who perpetrated these atrocities and witness their obscenities. What do you make of it? Turning to Hendricks. The interrogator tilts his head. Servant on the opposite side, I must know more about the final dawn, the fabricator and his mass, and about this machine as well. I could give you the coordinates, but the lexicomechanic drops said, even though I was present for many blasphemies committed by those heretics, all the details that were captured and processed by my true flesh are in the augmetic that was corrupted by the scrap code. I'm convinced that if I hadn't fought off that foreign compulsion in time, I would have been doomed. The corruption would have spread to my biological cogitator as well. Lexicomechanic taps the finger of the device hanging from his ear to several others. I swear the no devout tech priest should come into contact with what's hidden in that once sacred device. Hendrick's expression shifts to the stares intently at the disconnected implant and still intact connectors protruding from under the lexomechanic's collar. The corner of his mouth twitches involuntarily. Can the cogitator be disconnected and reconnected to another machine? The lexomechanic shakes his head in reproach. Even the very idea of exposing a holy machine to the scrap code wasn't profane in itself. My augmentics are not universally compatible. They cannot be connected to another machine spirit. They were created to interact within the system of my true flesh, to innervate my compulsor unit and output data via the inscriber. Once I am safe, I swear I will immediately perform a cleansing rite and destroy. In other words, there's only one way to extract the data stored in the cogitator. What are you talking about? If we connect the cogitator to the augmentic system, the lexomechanic will serve as a conduit for transmitting the data. We will learn the details, even if they are incomplete, of the things he saw and heard, but is now unable to recall. The lexomechanic, who has been listening to your discussion in puzzlement, finally understands what is going to happen to him. He begins to back away in fear. No, anything but that. I'll die. No, it'll be worse than that. I'll succumb to the corruption. I'm begging you, please. I'd rather be burned as a heretic than have the scrap code in my biological cogitator. At these words, Henrik pauses for a fraction of a second, almost as if reconsidering. In failing to offer any resistance against the enemies of the Omnissiah, Unit Zeta 86 lost the grace of his machine rank and was recategorized as a resource of the Manufactorum. The defilement and torment of said resource is committed to advance the struggle against heresy, will not be deemed a sin or malefaction against the living soul. Upon expiry of the unit's utility, disposable is recommended. Oof, that's cold, Pascal. Henrik stopped. Leaders of the cult would never discuss anything of importance in front of the witnesses. Leave the poor man alone. We need to know where the cogitator is. Even if the heretics' conversations are important, I must know why the machine was so valuable to them. I'll tell you, the lexomechanic rummages in his ragged clothes until he produces a scrap of parchment. A different augmentic is responsible for my muscle memory. It has data storage, too. I remember where I walked and what I pressed with my fingers. Here are the coordinates and the code. It's probably a code to the bay. He scratches out the numbers with his fingers and passes the parchment to Hendricks. Hendricks' eyes bore into the smaller man. At last, having reached some conclusion, he turns his gaze to you. He's a subject of your world, rogue traitor. It is for you to decide his fate. Well, we are for the people. We're going to hopefully save this dude. He'll be taken to my ship. After the cleansing rites, a place will be found for him there. There you go, my man. We just saved your life. Hendricks, the lexomechanic is given the shuttle coordinates and hurries away. Hendricks watches him go. Excessive kindness, rogue trader, gets good people in trouble. Let's hope that the corruption only affected the disconnected augment and not his soul. Come on, we need to find the cogitator. Alright, so... Wait, what's... Well, we will find that, but let's see what's up here. Tech use.
My success is an irrefutable certainty.
Oh wait, what is that? Ballistic skill by 10. That is good. Alright, damage to grenades. I would prefer increasing your ballistic skills. So now you're at 60, so you get plus... Ooh, it rounds up, I think. No, it rounds down. Interesting. Okay. I want the +6.
Victory awaits!
Oh, jeez.
Vengeance will be swift.
Is there anything? Alright, well let's see. I don't know if we've...
Follow!
Oh, jeez.
I've suffered worse.
Ow!
The Emperor sets my path. Carry the
Remember.
Emperor's
I
will
guide
as your
humanity
torch.
between the stars.
Ow. Oh, damage 0. Okay, I think we...
It's about time.
Oh, come on. I thought we, blood mixed with machine oil is barely visible in the dark floor.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Where? Oh, it's down here. Okay. Where do we... Oh, were we up here before? We must have been up here before. Oh yeah, there were athletics. Okay, interesting.
Tolerate weakness.
Where's the...
Victory awaits.
Ow.
I won't
What
go
was
down
that?
easy.
Okay, well, we made it through. Let's grab these goods. Pack as cargo.
None shall stand in my way.
Let's go. Looking at time. I do want to go back to... Where's the circle thing? Are we able to rotate this thing again? Because if we can't... So we're gonna probably break this up into 3 parts, having a 3rd part. The system accepts the access codes and moving bolts indicates the door has been unlocked. Let's see what there is. Experimental mutant. The screen of Cloud Shader shows scrolling lines of repeating technolinguists staring at the obscured. Alright, why won't this stay down here?
New challenge for me.
Numerous wires and pipes run through the filthy cages, which are filled with what looks like conglomerations of human bodies. You cannot make out who is in the cage, but bright blue sparks flash intermittently in the darkness while the mass of flesh twitches and shudders. Is this Henrik's? Henrik casts his scrutinizing eye over the cages before withdrawing his weapon and approaching to examine what lies. Careful, Henrik's. Though the metal bars you see in truly apparel human bodies are something that used to be, the monstrous deformed bodies have fused together in place, while others were severed using saws and knives, leaving wounds seeping pus and slime. Wounds that are agglutinating and sprouting tendons. Rods connected to wires. One of the human's heads turns to you. Mercy. Alright, Mercy, make it stop. Study the mutants closely. Medicaid check succeeded. You examine the pulsating mass of flesh. The creature in the cage seems to be composed of several bodies joined together. You see no sutures or any other means by which the separated body parts could have been connected. Among the layers of meat, you can discern large knots of muscle, various limbs, exposed bones, parts of faces, and entire heads. Only warp sorcery is capable of creating such an abomination. What is this? Henrik takes his surroundings and once again takes in his surroundings and once again fixes his gaze on the contents of the nearest cage. I'm beginning to have some idea. The Lex mechanic mentioned the inhabitants of the lower levels who had been imprisoned in their homes. He said some of them were brought here. The cultists did something to these poor people in their own home, and now they're studying the result. Alright. They're people, monstrously mutated, but still people. Yes, this is what warp sorcery has done to them. To be precise, I've seen many mutants whose features have been distorted under the effects of the archenemy, but this is something beyond all imagining. Lex Mechanic talked about some kind of slag waste disposal and chaos symbol on machines. What are the arch enemies minions doing to people of the lower levels? Do you know the workings of dark sorcery means allowing corruption into oneself? Henrik scowls. These are our mutations, no doubt. Perhaps there was some side effect, and this is why they were brought here. To be conducted to censors and commentators. Even fallen tech priests who have rejected Amosai are driven by a perverted hunger for knowledge. Or are they hooked up to cogitators? Henrix carefully studies the screens of the computing machines. Linguotechnics is corrupted by the scrap code, I'm sure. It's unlikely we will be able to extract anything of value from their cyber crypts. Thinking, Henrik transfers his fists and bites down on a knuckle, and then recoils when the mutant from the nearest cage reaches a hand out to him through the bars. You! A female voice watches from within the gloom of the cage. Even though half of her head has been turned into a mess of bones and lump and gross, her single eye looks at you with a surprising amount of intelligence. You promised us. Her words are echoed by other voices in the depths of the cage. Henrik leads towards the cage, but all sufficient distance to ensure the mutant cannot reach him. Who are you talking to? What did they promise you? Who are they? You took us from the inferno. You promised us a reward. You, her face contorts in a grimace and creature's lips stick together like melted wax. I'll be damned, they can still speak. They remember the people who did this to them. Henrik balls his fist in powerless rage. Then he frowns in thought. Perhaps a little biomancy will allow us to draw the fragments of knowledge out of them, or it will trigger further changes. Not missing Pascal's sober interest in the proceedings, which he is dutifully recording with his data slate, Abelard raises a brow. Esteem Magos, these are your comrades. If I may ask, do you feel any compassion for them, or at the very least regret? Regret for the losses that these poor people represent to the Adeptus Mechanicus? Negative. What I'm currently observing is not my brethren, but merely their biological functioning remains fashioned into a specimen of an unnatural perversion of technology. I am under no directives to feel any affinity for such specimens. Alright, what do you want to do? My psychic abilities allow me to affect the human body. It is one of the most effective tools to use against individuals who resist questioning. But if you're suggesting that I want to use it, I think you're getting a little ahead of yourself. The effect of the warp energy will likely lead to an explosive reaction. I do not know the precise mechanism of this mutation. The result could be even more monstrous than its current state. If there's something that will make them talk, we must use it. Henrix nods. Yes, it's possible another person would refuse to make such a choice, but we can use the situation to help the investigation. Alright, what are you going to achieve by prolonging their suffering? Just read them. Alright, I'm not going to argue with you. It seems to me your mind is already made up. I'm very confused. There's some back and forth here. But it looks like we're going to use his psychic abilities. Henrix hesitates for a moment, then closes his eyes and raises one hand. You are enveloped in an otherworldly chill. The mass of flesh in the cage suddenly rears up. The mutant wrenches open its glued tongue together lips and begins wailing frantically. The shrieking is echoed by a chorus of howls and tortured moans coming from the neighboring cages. The mutant changes before your eyes. The tumors recede like an ebbing tide, revealing an emaciated female face twisted in agony. The woman gasps for air, twitches her now mobile neck, and exclaims, "Liar, you promised to kill me. You promised me deliverance. Every one of you told me that hope and pain would go. Accept the truth, for that is hope. My only hope is to be freed from this pain. Please make it so. Make it." Level flesh behind your head shudders and sends out a smooth fat tentacle that covers her wailing face and drags it into itself. You feel the pressure in your ears. From the cage you hear steady, almost imperceptible sound that fills you with despair and horror. With a sigh, Henrik lowers his hands and looks at what the creature within the cage has become, a wetly gleaming mass of meat and gristle that no longer bears any hint of human origins. It pulses vigorously. And that's it, the lamentation of a dying people. No, not just that. What it said about hope sounds like a lie of chaos which is used to take root in weak minds. I believe the corrupted tech priest repeated the phrase like an echo in what has been instilled in them. Whatever the code of the Final Dawn is planning, false hope is a key component of their plan. It's a lead. A small one, but a lead. That's that then. But do you know what bothers me, Rogue Trader? The number of people here, they're too few. The lower levels of similar manufactoriums are inhabited by millions. What happened to the rest of them? Henrik shakes his head. I know I won't like the answer. Let's go. We still haven't done what we came here to do. Okay.
Doubt is for the weak.
Can
We
we
must act.
can we not free them?
I tire of idleness. Let's move.
Alright, we have a stack of 4. Okay, so we are going to... Well, let's open this door.
I've seen a lot of innocent people. I've yet to see someone remain so after an interrogation.
Yeah, we're going to take on this fight in the next episode. If you are interested in watching more of this playthrough, please be sure to drop a thumbs up and comment. Your support means everything. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in future videos. We're going to continue freeing our Kiava Gamma playthrough in the next episode. Shadowcoast out.